Now, hello everybody, wee Paddy from across the shock, and I'm back at you with another video this morning. And this morning we're on one of my favourite knife brands. And it's Ganzo, as you can see in front of you. And I've got quite a few Ganzos that there's a couple I've actually had before, but I'm doing reviews, if you like, because they're still hanging about and they're still really good knives. And I don't know, there's maybe a lot of my subscribers who are not that long around. Ganzo sort of went through a real hiatus about a year ago, and it slowly sort of went quiet for a while, but I want to bring it back because Ganzo produced some great knives. And once I've reviewed a lot of these, I'm going to do a lot of comparisons because Ganzo do sort of replicas, their take on other people's knives, and there's a lot of controversy about it. I know there is, but I don't mind a bit of controversy. I buy what I can afford, and if it looks like something else, well, that's okay. As long as I like what the other thing looks like, then I'll buy it. I wouldn't buy it just for the sake of it. So, we'll get into that later anyway. I like to be a wee bit controversial. This knife here is a budget knife, a real good budget knife, a light-duty work knife that can be extended a wee bit more than what your average light-duty work knife would be. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to describe this wee knife. It's the Ganzo G7142 liner lock folding knife, and I've got black, and you also get the green and the orange in it. And it cost today, as I'm looking at it, is £8.52 delivered. How good is that? No, sorry, it's actually there's a wee bit of shipping cost. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't when you go through. But say it's a $10 to $13 knife, and it's an $8 to $10 or £pound knife. God, my mouth's not working at all this morning. So this is it. Ganzo's come in a wee box like this. There's a couple of different wee boxes depending on which one you're getting. But they all say Ganzo on the front, and Firebird is the new logo. This is an older version, I would think, but I never had this one. And Ganzo's come inside there. You have a lovely little silk baggie if you would ever use them. I don't personally, and this is the knife you're going to get. I think this is a lovely, slimline, sleek-looking knife. Well, now, there it is. It's got the old Ganzo mark, but they have put the Firebird on the other side now. Look at that blade shape. Isn't that just beautiful? It's a bigger version of a blade shape they've used before, but it was used with a different mechanism, and they were both liner locks, but I'll show you that later. But that is a lovely looking blade. I love the little ramp up. I love these for your thumb. And this, strangely enough, has probably got the best jimping on a Ganzo that I've had. It is very, very useful. If you can see it, it's pointing back towards you. And when you put it on, you just don't move. Lovely knife, lovely slim. And I know there's Kershaw's and all that have knives that look like this, but I don't know them and never had them. So if there is, please let me know down below. But I think it's a lovely looking knife. There's a lanyard hole at the back, and there's the pocket clip, which is a usual Ganzo pocket clip. Now, saying that, there's a fair bit of your knife hanging out, but for this knife, this is not a knife I'm going to be taking out in dress clothes or anything. It's one I'm going to use about the house. I'm going to throw in a toolbox, throw in the car as a spare knife. It doesn't come in the normal Ganzo 440 steel. It comes in BRD 4116, which is a German steel, I believe. And they've used it in one other knife before, which I'll show you again later on when we do comparisons. And I found it to be an excellent knife. For a budget steel, it's excellent. Now, I just want to say something about what I call budget. What other people call budget, I don't know. But what I call budget and what I call a budget steel is something that I can get sharp and it cuts. And it cuts for a reasonable amount of time and a reasonable amount of work and material it goes through. Because that's all I test it on. I don't go out and test it in wood. I don't go out and test it in all these rubber tires and all. So I'm only going to be honest with you. A reasonable amount of time and it takes a really good edge. That's what I like, and that's what I call budget steel. The knives that I carry on a regular basis and that I'm going to use are usually of better steels, that I'm going to use in a circumstance that I need that. My everyday carry will be a better steel than what my budget knives are going to be. So I've got them knives I need. I need this for just cutting up boxes like cereal boxes, as I normally show. If it cuts telephone paper, even better. Do you know what I mean? And if it doesn't, well, it'll cut ordinary paper. So in future, that's what I call a budget blade. And that's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for anything complicated or, you know, what the metallurgy of it is. If it says it's D2 in these new knives, I'll believe it's D2. If it cuts and I can get it sharp again, that's fine. I'm not going to go in and do any strict testing because most of the knives I'm buying are a reasonable price that I'm not going to be worried too much. Sometimes Chinese companies, as we all know, tell me fibs. But I've not had too many problems with them, to be honest. And especially now at the minute, their D2 seems to be reasonably good. It's not as well heat treated in some of their knives as we would treat it, or as you would treat it in America. So that's out of the way. Because there has been controversy over what's budget and what's not, and is it worth it, is it not? For my use, and that's an old fart living in a house with his wife, cutting up boxes, doing normal things. As long as it cuts my boxes up, and maybe does 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes that I would have some days, that's all I want. So, that's it out of the question. I'm not going to say it again. I probably will, but you know what it is. So what size is this knife? Let me give you a rundown. Now, the blade length is 3.5 inches, which is 8.8 centimetres. The full length of it is 8 inches at 20 centimetres, 20 point something centimetres. The weight is 3.7 ounces, 107 grams. And the reason it is that weight for such a slim wee knife, although it's an 8-inch knife, is it's not, the liners are not milled out at all. It's a solid old liners. And that's what Ganzo used to do. And that's why I think maybe it's an older version. They've just upgraded the writing. But Ganzo never used to put relief holes or anything in their knives. They were just heavy big knives. So it's 107 grams, 3.7 inches, which is absolutely fine to me. Wouldn't bother me. The blade stock's about an 1/8 of an inch, 2.5 millimeters. The thickness across the back is about half an inch and 12 centimeters. Or 12 millimeters, sorry. And that's the knife. Beautiful blade shape with a nice little bit of belly and a lovely long straight for doing your cutting. Does it cut a bit of paper? Telephone paper. Telephone paper. Let's go. That's pretty good. Do you know what I mean? That's not going to be your rubbish steels, because they don't do that. You know, I know this, I'm not making a very good job of it, but look at that, from tip to toe, it's just cutting through. That's pretty good for an £8, you know, for a $10 to $13 knife. If my knives can do that, they'll cut through any boxes I ever have. Oh, come on. What? Now, what about a bit of cardboard? And it's my usual cereal boxes. Look at that. If my knives can cut through cereal boxes like that, I'm all right. There's no problem. So, now, what can I tell you about this knife? It's beautiful in hand, very nice to hold, very ergonomic. This here is the best functional one that I've seen in Ganzo. I absolutely love it. I'm never a great fan. These are very functional clips Ganzo put on. You know, it's strong enough to hold in your pocket. The liners, there's no relief in them. They're just thick, big liners. It's a good, thick, substantial liner lock, and it goes across. It's just over 50, I would say, which is fine. It's solid and it's going to stay there. It's still a newish knife, so it doesn't flick out as well yet, but it will, like all Ganzos, because they use one phosphorus and one plastic washer, like they always did and still do in most knives. It'll take it a while to loosen up. I haven't given it enough work yet. You know, you can still, if I flick my wrist, you can get it out. There's no problem. And it will loosen up, as all Ganzos do. Now, what's a comparison? I'm going to show you another knife that Ganzo do. This is the only aluminium. Well, it's not the only. I think they do a push button one, but we can't get that over here at the moment anyway. So this is an aluminium with a lovely rubber handle. I had wrote this knife off after I bought it because I couldn't flick it out, and it never ever loosened up. So I'd thrown it in my kitchen drawer, and I then used it for about, I don't know how many months. If you look back on the second review I done of this, it says just how good I found the steel. I knew nothing about the steel. I hadn't sharpened it for about 4 months. It had lay in the kitchen drawer, cut everything from wee bags to mushrooms. And it was just lying about. And it was only then that I realised, blimmin' heck, that knife's been in there all that time. And that blade steel's cut everything it's put in front of it. I haven't even sharpened it. So I took it back out and saved it again. It's an absolute little cracker. This is a liner lock as well. But it doesn't flick out. It's just, you can't, well, maybe somebody with stronger fingers than me can. I can still open it one-handed and put it away on my knee. But, so there's the length of that. It's a bit smaller. But if you look at the blade shapes, they're quite similar. Although this one has a hole in it, they are quite similar. I love the little swedge on the top, and I love the flats that come down to a point inside that swedge. They are different. They're not the same, but similar. So, there's a Delica. Let's put the Delica out to let you see what length it is. So the Delica is a bit shorter than it. You know what I mean? It's a couple of centimetres shorter. And my daily carry today is my Benchmade. And I'll put the Benchmade down beside her. And she is literally, there's about a couple of millimetres difference in the length of them. They're both nearly exactly the same. So that'll give you a bit of size comparison. So all this is a really reasonable priced little working knife that cuts. That's all I want for £8. Don't want a whole lot more. I love the shape of it, and when it loosens up, it'll flick nicely. It's fine now, do you know what I mean? It's just lit. I have plenty of knives that if I want to play flick with, that I can play flick with. This is just a wee cheap liner lock, but for me, I'm going to recommend this fully as a little work knife. And you know, not even a work knife, that's a slim knife in your pocket. If this is what, you know, if your budget's tight like mine was in the beginning, this is a good knife. I mean, don't go to a garage and buy a knife like this, G10, 4116 steel. You don't get them in garages for that price. You know, so to me, it's a good knife. Ganzo get an awful bad rep. I love them. I always have done, always stuck by them. And to be honest, most of the time, I get a fairly good knife. You get the odd one, but for that price, hey, who doesn't? You get it with every other brand of knife. So that's it, folks. I'm going to leave you with that. I love it. Again, it's another Ganzo that I think for value for money, if you want something to leave in your toolbox, in your car door, you know, in your glove box, anywhere, just leave it about, and leave it about the kitchen even. I mean, that's a great stainless steel to use in the kitchen. That's a lovely cutting knife. There's a hollow grind in that, which is lovely. It'll slice through it. You've seen it. It'll do telephone paper. And this is a budget knife. Do you know what I mean? This does telephone paper. And that's after cutting boxes. Do you know what I mean? So, highly recommended. I know it's cheap. Don't let cheapness put you off buying something when there's a Ganzo name in front of it. That's it. Did I go a wee bit overboard? I love my Ganzos. And I've got quite a few coming of new ones and quite a few ones that I'm just re-reviewing again. And I'm still as excited about them. If you're on a budget, there's your knife. If you want knives to throw about your house and in bags, there's one. There's one that you can take it out and rely on. I'm away for a wee cup of tea. All the best. Have a nice weekend. Bye now.